What's up, tribe? Welcome to the throne room. Just in case you're new here, I'm Kamal, the paragon of self-mastery. But this channel isn't just about self-mastery. It's also about power, strategy, and control. Here we're going to break down the greatest lessons from history, psychology, philosophy, politics, and much more. Not just to learn them, but to figure out how we can apply them in our everyday lives. Now check this. You got three types of people when it comes to willpower. The first think willpower is genetic. If they don't have it now, they believe that they never will. So they keep waiting until their lives belong to someone or something else. The second, they know about willpower. They read a book or two, maybe even tried like some things, meditation, but they never build systems. They rely on motivation, but motivation is not reliable. And the third type of person, they train their willpower like a weapon. They know that willpower is an edge in any battlefield, mental, spiritual, and financial. And that's who we are over here, that third type of person. Here we're going to be sharpening our willpower. And today we're going to be talking about the will to power and how strategic minds train control. So imagine this. You wake up in a world where everyone's decisions are being made for them by habits they didn't choose, impulses they don't control, and systems they don't understand. We don't really need to imagine that because that's really what's going on. People actually think they're free, but they're running on scripts, social media, food cravings, comfort, fear. And the truth is, the difference between being controlled and being in control isn't just your circumstance, it's willpower. The ability to pause when others react, to choose discomfort when others seek pleasure, to build structure when the world around you is chaotic. Most people will never know what that means or what it means to be free because they never tell themselves no. They don't tell their emotions no. Everything is a go. But today we're going to break down not just what willpower is, but how strategic minds build that willpower into an edge. So pretty much energy is the true currency of life. Willpower isn't about strength, it's about energy management. Because your willpower functions like a battery and every decision drains it. What you eat, read, talk about, view. And most people, they make this mistake. They wait until they're drained to try to be disciplined on the things that they want to do and implement their willpower. But the people that are successful, they don't use their willpower to resist. They use it to redirect their focus. They use music, stories, or whatever tools they need to empower themselves. Their willpower isn't just used with brute force. They use it strategically. Because most people aren't failing because they're weak. They're failing because they're leaking their energy and their willpower all day. And willpower is a limited resource. The powerful people, they know how to conserve it, protect it, and focus it like a laser. So if you're waking up, grabbing your phone, arguing online, scrolling, you're already kind of starting the day off at a willpower deficit. And that's actually something I'm working on myself. It's not a lack of discipline, but a lack of mental strategies that kind of fatigues you from fighting the distractions later on throughout the day. You're starting the day off with bad energy. And so when you control that energy, you have now more energy to do your true work. And then you have a greater currency. So the question is, if energy is the greatest currency, and that's our mental budget, then what is the next layer? The brain. So the same brain that helps us survive actually also sabotages our greatness. You see, we have our brain that has two systems. One is the fast, emotional, instinctive system. Two is the slow, rational, strategic system. And most people, they're operating from their system one, especially when they're tired, distracted, or overwhelmed. Unless your instinct is trained, if you follow your instinct, you're going to lose. But those in control of themselves and their willpower, they create a gap between their instinct and impulse. We literally have like two brains fighting all the time. One wants gratification and the other wants growth. And the gap between that is where your power lives, your willpower. Because your instincts aren't designed for greatness for the most part. Like, they're not. They're designed for survival, and survival plays it safe, but greatness requires strategy. And I've also been guilty of that too, moving off impulse and then making a bad decision. Could be in an argument, you get triggered, they say something, you say something, and you might not have said the right thing. But now when I feel those emotions rising, I bring my awareness to my body, my bodily cues, my face getting hot, my words getting short. And that awareness helps me because it makes me conscious that my decision making is altered right now. So I'm actually stepping out of my first brain, my impulse, and stepping into my second brain. But ultimately, if you can't control your mental system, external systems won't really save you. Even the smartest people collapse without the framework to restrain themselves. And that brings us to the real battlefield, how even the best and the brightest failed because they lack systems of control. You could be brilliant and still fail if you don't build systems to protect your willpower. For instance, the U.S. leadership during the Vietnam War, they weren't stupid. They were like Ivy League, Harvard, Dartmouth, all that crap. They actually failed because they didn't have a system to implement humility. They had egos, and the ego made them ignore evidence. Strategy became emotional justification instead of objective logic. Intelligence actually amplifies bad decisions when it doesn't have the proper structure. The smarter the brain, the faster it gets to making a bad choice. So willpower isn't about intelligence, it's about routine, patterns, and boundaries. Being smart doesn't actually protect you from failure. Your systems do. And I'm actually guilty of this too. Oh, I'm smart so I can plan on the go. Or think a certain way and outsmart a situation instead of having a step-by-step process to get to my desired destination. So pretty much what does that mean for us? It means we can't really just study this. We have to train and execute. So now we can go over some real world examples to help us build our willpower. And you don't build willpower by thinking. You build it by training. Because if willpower is really a system or systems, the only way to strengthen it is with actual practices. So now I'm going to run through 3 exercises to help build willpower in your daily life. The delay. Delay your response by 10 seconds. When you have that urge to read your phone, check your phone, speak out of emotions, mess your diet up, quit, whatever. This works by getting you out of that fast brain and then letting your slow brain take control. It turns your impulse into intelligence. And every second you pause adds more power to the cause. Next, track your energy for 3 days. Check your morning, afternoon, and evening energy. Mark down what is the strongest times for you and what's the weakest times. And then you can kind of schedule your decision making within that time. And then once you start to do that, that can put you in an upward rhythm. And the third thing, every night, ask yourself 3 questions. Where was I strongest? Where did I lose control? And what systems can help me to fix that? This is actually something that really helped me with my morning routine. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it, But now that I have a little something, I'm not just like waking up and hopping straight to do Instagram. I kind of have my affirmations or, drink my water, be grateful, and my grateful affirmations and stuff like that, But pretty much the goal is to kind of automate your willpower and then make your success inevitable. Because self-discipline and willpower, those are like critical to self-control. And we're not doing this to be like dumping our face in water and then waking up at 5 a.m. and stuff like that. We're doing this to control our world and control our minds so we can lead our families and build businesses and feed ourselves, etc., And self-mastery is not about anything external. It's about controlling our own minds. Because if we want to talk about freedom and being liberated, we don't even govern ourselves. You're not here to be like them. You're here because there's a war going on inside nobody's safe from. You're here with the tribe because you don't want to be controlled by systems, distractions, and impulses. You want to master your own world. And if that's our mission, this needs to stick with us after this video is finished. Power is rarely lost all at once. It's slowly eroded away. The greatest threat to our power doesn't come from anybody else. It comes from our weak decisions, that next weak decision. When you're tired or no one's watching, and then, okay, just this one time turns into once upon a time, and years pass, and you're like, yeah, I remember when I wanted to do that, or whatever. So the difference between us and those kind of people is that we're training for when we're weak to have that system in place. We're not just wanting our willpower to do all the work. We're creating a system for this. And it's just, something like that. But, this is just one step in the journey. We're going to be doing more self-mastery videos. And if you resonated with anything today, definitely like, comment something that you picked up or that you learned, and then something that I can learn from as well. I definitely would appreciate that. And you can also check out my affirmation videos if you need a little extra boost.